Hi friends, welcome back to another Player's Companion. As always, I'm Dustin.
I'm Haley.
And this week, I'm pretty excited for this one. We decided to try this out on your behalf and see if it's worth a purchase or not.
It's the Army Painter Speed Set Mega Set 2.0. So it's a new formula.
The set is reformulated to their new parameters. Don't know what that is exactly. They took some feedback and changed the formula so it sets different, dries different.
I've heard it's getting like mixed reviews. Like some people really like it and some people are saying it's like cracking and stuff.
And it could be. We're going to check that out. We've heard some rumbles. Haven't tried it yet ourselves. And we did like the previous Speedpaint sets a fair amount. They're a fine, lower cost alternative to contrast paints with kind of the same idea. If anything else, we've got a lot of new colors to try in here.
Yeah.
The Mega Set 2 has a couple of returning colors in it from the previous one, like Orc Skin and Slaughter Red.
Color.
But mostly new colors, and then 3 of the new Speedpaint metallics in it, which I'm pretty excited to try out.
I'm very excited to try. I'm very curious how it's going to look.
All right, so we're going to crack this open today. We have a selection of figures. I went with more like some guys that are just like 1 or 2 colors and very broad. Haley's got a super detailed.
I've been waiting for the Speedpaint set for this, so I was like, guess I'm committing to this one for the video.
Right, so we're gonna see how those details come out with them there and everything. Yeah, we'll try them out, give our feedback, and see if this one is worth a pickup like the first one was. These guys, again, new formula, and it's a more expensive box as well. Mm-hmm. So definitely worth getting and giving some feedback on it and see how it's going to turn out.
So I started with the metallic because that's what I've been the most curious about and the most excited for, and that's why I wanted to save this figure for the speed paints. And I just didn't believe that we were gonna have like true contrast with the metallics, but it's looking really good right now. I'm really impressed with how the metallics look so far.
I tend to paint my bases first on mine, just get the ground out of the way, and then worry about the feet colors touching it on or whatever. So I've done a few bases. With Desolate Brown, we've got some Algae Green, and the Ashen Stone. So, these look pretty good. I'm already kind of missing like the Gravelord gray that's in the other set, because it's a darker gray, and also like the Sandstone, and one of the browns is more like a muddy brown. So definitely getting it to where this is like the tropical Skittles of paints, where it's like you just miss the cherry flavor, and there's just the basic flavor. You get all the weird colors, and they still work, but not having some of those core colors is a little off. But we'll see how it all turns out. I picked a lot more muted colors for their skins and stuff, so that'll still work with. But on the ground, I do kind of miss those base colors right now.
So I just finished the silver, and then I did a bronze for her belt, and I don't like how bright the bronze is. It's like a really bright color. I'm gonna keep it this way so that you can see what the whole thing looks like when it's done. But afterwards, I might dry brush like a darker metallic over it or something. But we'll see how it looks too with like the other colors I'm gonna put on it when it's done. It might look better. So now I'm gonna do the gold, at least on these details over here, so we can see what all of the metallics that come in this set look like.
One color, single layer down on this one. It's Raging Sea. Looks really nice. I like that shade, especially for I think, sea-dwelling dragon here. One note, and this is just on the speed paints in general, not just this one. I got a little overzealous with the blue kind of outside of my lines here and have a lighter color. And the dark colors always bleed through the light colors on this. There's no real cover-up if you make a mistake where light meets dark. So while we're gonna be trying to experiment with this, just doing like one kind of quick speed paint layer to show what you can crank out in a pretty short amount of time, that's one of those things we're gonna need an acrylic touch-up to be able to paint over the bad coloring on that, because I just got a little too sloppy. So you're gonna have kind of a bleh stomach line there, and
could also use water to remove it, but that's kind of hard.
It wasn't coming off either. So when I was trying, so some colors, are pretty water soluble. You can reactivate them.
I did hear that you can't reactivate as much on these ones. That was something that they fixed in the new formula.
Oh, so new formula has less activation. Okay, so that makes sense then. So yeah, so this is dark blue, not coming off, where he's gonna have kind of a pale color here. So gonna need to get a different way of touching that up later. But
Part of the experiment.
No one has cut themselves. We've had a paint explosion.
We lost 90% of red
The
color.
bright red, very bright. The one victim really is my Lord of the Rings.
Again,
Play
we
mats.
just had a cat spill something on it a couple days ago.
Yeah, Sabine, this one, spilled some orange soda on it a couple days ago, and now it is stained with paint. Anyway, we had one of the metal balls was stuck in
Both
the.
of them.
No, well, one or both. I was stuck in the tube. Do not squeeze harder
Yeah.
if the metal ball gets stuck in the tube, or you will have a pool of paint all over the place. So, one to remember.
Haley's over here tooting her own horn every time she looks at her men. She's like,
Look at her. She's looking good. Look at that.
Pretty happy with how this hooked horror is coming out. At first, it was way too bright. This set's the way the colors are divided is kind of odd. Like the other set has a bright blue, to be sure, magic blue, which is also in this set. It also has a lot of like kind of gray and muted blues. This one, they're all super bright or almost black. So he was very, very shiny and very cartoonish looking at first. But I added some some brown layer over the blue to mute the color, and now he's looking much more evil, and the red eyes kind of pop out.
Like I said, he looks like a Ninja Turtles guy.
He does look a lot like he's from Secret of the Ooze. Yeah,
Looks really good.
This is the other baby. I need a big wolf one now to go with them. So, yeah, it's looking good.
So here's where mine is so far. So yeah, I gave her like magma armor so you can see the like lava in between the plates. And then I did like a fire hair, and I really like this periwinkle purple that I just did on the tips of her hair because it kind of looks like ash, so it really feels like fire to me. I didn't know what to expect from that color. I was honestly a little bit nervous, but it ended up looking really good. And then at first I wasn't really liking the metallics with the armor, but I put the gold on her braces and now I feel a lot better about it. I don't like this bronze at all. It does not fit. I'm gonna have to definitely change it, but everything else looks really good. Once I fix that bronze, I think it'll all look good together.
Very important to pace yourself while you're doing a big painting job. So we have taken a break for some cookies, and very important, Billy Madison is on TV. So
I put it on TV. It wasn't just like on
well,
TV.
yeah, well, it's on the TV.
It is on
Okay,
TV, yes.
Can't take a minute, prioritize.
Cookies.
You know, let your fingers rest.
Give me cookie. Got your cookie.
It'll still be there. We'll finish it up in a minute. But first, very expensive gourmet cookies. So it's gotta have them.
Although they don't look super gourmet tonight.
So we're back after painting these guys. Left them time to dry and everything, just in case, because there had been some rumors, like Haley was saying earlier online, of the paint maybe drying weird or cracking or something. Just wanted to kind of see how they really set in. Start off with these. I ended up painting 3. Again, trying to get more just like a speed, you know, just what can you whip out really fast. That is kind of like how they're marketed, is that you can just get those armies done real quick. So not super detailed, but just bigger guys helped in this case. And try out some of those new colors. So first off, did this dragon. This is Owl the Dawn Sky from the Magic the Gathering D&D scale miniatures they made for their crossover ones, and he turned out really good. I like the colors a lot.
The color is so nice.
Yeah, the Raging Tempest, and this is the Nuclear Sunrise. Work really well together. He also has these little fan dongles that stick in him very awkwardly, so we're going to leave those off for now. He looks great for the most part. The one thing you can kind of see that is something to keep in mind with the speed paints is they can dry kind of unevenly, so there are some parts that are darker than others. So if I were to go back over him and touch him up, I would do another layer and just try to do it really like smooth and even as much as you can to try and level out the colors. But in general, it's a great looking color, and you can really see how it gets into the cracks, and the colors that bring out the details on the minis. Big wide surfaces with lots of little details are kind of their specialty.
I will say that's not an exclusive issue to the 2.0 set either. The first set also comes out patchy.
That's true, yeah. And honestly, the contrasts do a little bit too. And anytime they don't have details to sink into, they kind of have like a splotchy, wavy pattern left on the mini. But
I personally think the contrast is better about it.
your eyes may vary. Yeah.
Very patchy.
Yeah. So then on the other two smaller guys, I got a hook horror and I think it's a Nikoloth, if I remember right. These guys each had to do a little bit of blending on colors because I wasn't super satisfied with everything that was in the set. The hook horror, for example, all the blues in this are either like super dark, like the navy, which is on his back, or what was on his body was really bright. All the other blues are really bright.
Yeah, I noticed when you first did it, it was really bright, and then you made it look a lot better.
Right, and a lot of the more muted blues are in the base previous
original set.
Yeah. So I did go over it with the bony matter, kind of a light brown, which is also what's on his hooks, and it made him a little more muted, and he looks really pretty good after that. I think he still has the details on him and everything. Looks pretty good. The Nikoloth, and this is one where you can definitely see he's much more muddy. The colors don't blend at all with the speed paints, but on the demon character, I don't really mind that as much. He looks kind of dirty. It kind of fits him a little bit. You can see his belly is in one normal speed paint tone.
The belly looks really good.
Yeah, that's the malignant green, and then the murder scene, which is a great name for paint, is on his red loincloth thing there, and a bit of the metallic on his weapon. Otherwise, though, the malignant green is layered over with the burnt moss on the rest of his body, and again, you can see they don't really blend super well, but I think it makes for a decent effect, so you can kind of see how that looks one layer on top of the other. So overall, pretty happy with it. All these guys I'd probably go over again later with an acrylic touch-up if I really want to get serious with them, but I think they're a pretty good little demonstration. And then Haley went much more detailed with her really cool looking piece.
Yeah, this is my fire giant that I've been wanting to paint for a long time. So I'm overall pretty happy with it. I think the best and worst part of it was this, like, what was it called? Occultist cloak with like a dark gray, kind of bluish hue to it that I used for like the magma-ish rock kind of armor that I made for her, because I like the way it looks. I like that it's matte. I think it looks rock-like. The only problem is because I used yellow and red for the magma and the seams, and I just kind of laid it over the edges. I didn't really worry about making it perfect because I was going to go over it, so you can see some of the yellow through it. So I'm not super happy about that. Like, I'm going to have to do another layer. I was thinking since it was a darker color, I wouldn't have that problem. The one thing I will probably fix, I don't care for how the metallics ended up. As you can see, I said I was going to wait so you could see all the paints first, but I had to go over this stupid belt with an acrylic already because I hated the way that the bronze looked. It was definitely more of like a copper color. It looked like a penny, and it was too bright. It didn't go with this. Like, the copper is an okay color, but I don't know what you would put it on. And my other complaint is, I thought the silver looked pretty good. I could see some, like, contrast in it. The gold has absolutely no contrast whatsoever. So I'm going to have to go back over that with a dark wash. I think that's why I'm unhappy with how the gold looks. There's just no detail where there should be detail. So that's going to need to be fixed. So if you just want, like, a quick, cheap metallic paint, then sure. But if you're trying to contrast, you're not really going to get it out of these.
When you first laid it down, I remember us thinking, like, when you put the silver on, like, okay, these metals are
the silver
pretty
looks
good.
Pretty good.
But the gold is okay, and definitely neither one of us liked the bronze.
The bronze.
Again, these are great for layering on super fast for the most part. Those Haley's demonstrated you can get like some nice detail work and some nice blending with them still. The detail work still looks good. Even though they'd be harder to work with sometimes detail because they don't blend. It's hard to cover. You really have to go light to dark when you're layering it in order to really get those layers to happen. Like, still showed you need to do really good stuff with them like that. So it still worked out really well.
And then one thing that I just want to point out, if you haven't discovered this already, is that the speed paints, contrast paints are great for the translucent plastics because it still holds, because it's thinner, so it still ends up looking more translucent, because if you put an acrylic over it, you're just going to lose that effect. So it's definitely something to use them for. If nothing else, if you don't want to use the speed paints, even though I think you should, they're great for the translucent effects.
So overall, I mean, I think it's a good set. I would still say that the Mega Set 1 array of colors is probably still the most, the one you should get first. It's the most basic, and will probably cover your needs a little better, but there's still some in between tones in that are kind of missed. So if you like that, want to move forward and really flesh out your paints, then the Mega Set 2 is still a worthwhile. And we didn't have any cracking, any
I was
problems
going to say,
with it?
yeah, we didn't have any problems with that at all. So I think it's just some people got it. I don't know if it has to do with the technique. We just put it straight on these nozzlers because they're already pre-primed. We didn't have to add any other primer, which is a benefit to these over the contrast paints because the contrast paints do not stick to this primer.
Yeah, so another good example for speed. Get those pre-prime minis, slap on a couple coats.
And affordability,
You're
you
good.
don't have to spray another primer. If you're using these, obviously something else you still have to prime.
Right. But yeah, like I was saying, it could be the way they painted it. Could obviously be environment as well.
That's true.
Because sometimes they ship through all kinds of weather. I know that having used like the Turbo Dork paints, they do not do well if you ship them in the winter and the cold. They get really messed up in
That's
the bottle.
true. Yeah.
So that could be. But in general, we like the set, and I think we would recommend it. Maybe not for your first set, but for your second and forward, that'd be worth it. That's all we have for now. If you have any comments about the pieces or your own experiences with your speed paints or any other paints or just tabletop minis in general, let us know below. And we will talk again soon. See you in the next video.
Thanks for watching.